Once upon a time, there was a clever crow named Charlie. He lived in a forest near a beautiful garden. The garden belonged to a kind farmer named Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson loved his garden very much. He grew all sorts of delicious fruits and vegetables.
I often fly over Mr. Johnson's garden. Those rows of juicy strawberries look so tempting.
Charlie the crow was very curious. He dreamed of tasting the sweet red berries, but Mr. Johnson worked hard to keep the birds away from his precious crops.
These strawberries are my pride and joy. I must protect them from the birds.
Every morning, Mr. Johnson would put on his straw hat and overalls. He would grab his watering can and tend to his garden with care. He would water the plants, pull out weeds, and chase away any pesky critters. To protect his strawberries, Mr. Johnson placed scarecrows around the garden.
These scarecrows will keep my garden safe. They may look a bit spooky, but they do the job.
The scarecrows were tall and imposing. They wore old clothes and had straw sticking out of their sleeves. Their heads were made of burlap sacks. They had painted on eyes and mouths that were frozen in a wide grin. Charlie the crow was a little afraid of the scarecrows at first, but he soon realized they were harmless.
Those scarecrows can't hurt me. I just need to find a way to get past them.
Charlie watched the other animals in the forest. He noticed that squirrels and rabbits were also tempted by the delicious strawberries. They would often try to sneak into the garden, but the scarecrows always scared them away. Charlie knew he needed a clever plan to outsmart the scarecrows.
I need to think of something smart. Those scarecrows are tough, but I can be tougher.
One day, Charlie was flying over the forest when he spotted something shiny. It was a small round mirror lying on the ground. Charlie swooped down to get a closer look. He had an idea.
Hey, what's that shiny thing you've got there, Charlie?
It's a mirror. I think I can use it to distract the animals and get to the strawberries.
Charlie decided to use the mirror to distract the animals and get to the strawberries.
The next morning, I flew to the garden with the mirror in my beak.
Whoa, what is that shiny thing? He dropped the mirror near one of the scarecrows. The sun reflected off the mirror's surface, creating a dazzling beam of light.
The other animals in the forest were mesmerized by the shiny object. They had never seen anything like it before. The squirrels chattered excitedly. The rabbits hopped closer to get a better look. Even the scarecrows seemed to be staring at the shimmering light. With the animals distracted, Charlie seized his chance. He swooped down to the strawberry patch.
These strawberries are delicious.
He ate his fill of the sweet, juicy berries, being careful not to damage the plants. Mr. Johnson, who was watching from afar, was surprised to see the crow in his garden, but he wasn't angry.
Well, would you look at that? This clever crow is actually helping me out.
Mr. Johnson had been having trouble with pests eating his strawberries. He realized that Charlie had actually helped him by distracting the other animals. Mr. Johnson decided to let Charlie have a few strawberries as a reward. From that day on, Charlie the crow and Mr. Johnson the farmer developed a unique bond. Charlie continued to visit the garden.
Look, Mr. Johnson, I brought you another shiny object.
Sometimes he would even bring Mr. Johnson shiny objects he found in the forest. Mr. Johnson, in turn, would leave out a few extra strawberries for his clever feathered friend.
Here you go, Charlie. Enjoy these strawberries.
The story of Charlie the Crow and Mr. Johnson teaches us that cleverness and resourcefulness can help us overcome challenges. It also reminds us that kindness and respect can lead to unexpected and meaningful friendships.
I never thought a crow could be so helpful.
It's amazing how a little kindness can go a long way.